What's up, Duel Monsters fans? It's Jynxx Shadow making a quick little, probably not really quick, just saying, but a video of yet a second one of my decks. I have a shit ton of decks. I've only done one deck on a video, but I last time did my canine deck, which was basically wolves, foxes, jackals, dogs, all dog-like creatures. I have a love for them, so I made a deck based off monsters, spells, and traps, Pretty much made a deck based on them. I've been playing Duel Monsters since I was 6 going on 7, and I'm now 22, and I ain't gonna quit. I love Duel Monsters. I'm gonna end up getting cremated with my Infernity deck. And no, that is not going on YouTube right now, and I'm not putting it on YouTube for reasons. But first off, let's get down to business. I'm going to present to you my Spellcaster deck. Now, before I open this up, actually during me opening up, I'm going to try and hold on to my foot since I have to hold the camera. Goth Girl's sleeping, so sorry everybody. Camera is going to be difficult a little bit. But I have 2 children, so one-handed stuff isn't a problem, really. Now, first off, yes, my spellcasters have Jynxx as their slaves. Some sick shit, right? Haha. Anywho, when I was 17, I promised myself I would not ever make a spellcaster deck again until Arcana's Dark Magician came out. Only because back then, I just didn't have confidence in the deck. So, without further ado, now that he's out, because the Legendary Collection, the Legendary decks, or whatever, the Yugi's 3 decks, pretty much. Right now, I'm running on how much sleep and stuff, but I'm awake enough. I got that, I think, the beginning of this month or whenever. I got it like 3 days after or 2 days after it just got released, so we're going to start off with Magician's Circle. I run, I believe, 2 of these in the deck, so we'll probably get to another. I also have I only use 1 Dark Magic attack. Now, before I proceed with this, the 3rd card is most likely a monster, so we're gonna see if I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. Yeah, it's Book of Moon. But once we get to a monster, I'm just letting you know, do not copy my deck. I make it from my heart. It is not for you to really steal. I just want to show you, because what dueling means to me and making a deck means to me, there's a skilled Dark Magician. I run, I believe, 2 inside a 3rd. But what I feel with deck making is it's not just a hobby. It is something that you do from your heart. You don't copy someone's ideas. You write down some ideas, not all ideas, and you do what's from your heart. You do what you feel is best, what you feel in your heart, your soul, your dueling spirit, how you should make your deck, and that will guide you and your deck, and the heart of the cards will be with you for eternity. So the next monster I added is a Breaker, the Magical Warrior. I most likely have 2 in here as well. Reason why I'm not saying anything, I do know how many I have in here. It's just, you'll have to find out. Haha. I have 1 Magical Blast, and it actually does come in handy, especially when you're close to deck out and you have it in your grave. Its effect allows you to make it your draw instead from the graveyard, so that's pretty cool. Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer, I chose to run only 1, but for pretty good reasons. All I needed was 1. I also have a Threatening Roar. There's my other skilled Dark Magician. I run, like I said, 2 Magician's Circle. I also added the Crystal Seer. She's actually pretty good. Now, I will not tell you how I duel with this. You will just have to find out if you get to duel me. Swords of Veil and Light, and this is the one from the Yugi's Legendary decks, by the way. I did not keep the decks intact for a reason, because in my opinion, it's your cards. You can do what you want. I have 3 Dark Magicians temporarily in this deck. This one is gonna probably end up getting removed if Demon gets unbanned, which I have a strong feel he will. Now, this card's one of my favorite spellcasters. Silent Magician level 4. To me, that's my daughter Hazel to me. I pretty much attribute her as my Silent Magician level 4. I also run only one Old Vindictive Magician because I was only testing him out, and he actually turned out to help me with 3 duels so far. I've dueled with this deck 5 times. One Shot Wand I chose over I believe the Wonder Wand, because if you're at a standstill and you need an extra card, if you're at your draw phase or so, just get rid of it and draw an extra card, It comes in handy, actually. Spellbinding Circle. Pretty much, it's also the same card that's in Magician's Circle. It's pretty much, And yes, 2 Breaker the Magical Warriors. They're my Misty Spaces, pretty much. But they're used for other things, too. I only added 1 Rapid Fire Magician, but I used to have an Ultimate Rare where everything was hollow, and it was also a misprint. It had the wrong attribute. It actually had, it was a dark, but it didn't have the dark symbol. For some reason, they had the light symbol on it that they use for the light monsters. Where is it? I know I have light monsters in here. I didn't even grab one yet. Hopefully the next one. Oh, good. There's a light one. I do run Herald of Creation. She does come in handy too, but I don't always use her effect. It's actually for the attack, and her effect does come in handy once in a blue moon. But yeah, he had that symbol with the words dark and the dark in it, and I thought that was pretty sick. And someone stole it from me from a tournament at one point, and then I got another ultimate rare, and it wasn't a misprint, and I traded it. I only run 1 McCoy Master Barriers, only because its effect isn't always needed, but lately I've been up against a lot of continuous spells and traps, so he does technically come in handy lately. I believe I run 2 Magical Dimensions, and like I said before, I'm not telling you, you'll just have to find out as this video goes along. Shit, that light blinding. Well, there's the Magical Dimension. Sorry, I was thinking of Magician's Circle. This is the Golden Sarcophagus from Legendary Dex Yugi. But if you look really close, it's also a misprint somewhat. Somewhat of the C and O and a piece of the P is missing. And I love misprint cards. There's just something about them that interests me. Black Cat knows that for a fact. And here is the reason why I had to make my Spellcaster deck. As soon as he came out, my promise was broken. I was like, look, now I can make a Spellcaster deck. This is my favorite Dark Magician. Sorry. The only thing I just realized, though, in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, if you pay attention close, he has a soul patch. But in the American card, I just realized, I think the soul patch is faded a bit to look more or less of a soul patch. I don't even think you can consider him having a soul patch anymore. But it doesn't matter to me because I love the Arcanist Dark Magician. I'm sorry. It's pretty much Dark Magician just looks way better in red. And if I stand corrected, the only thing different towards them is their wand, except the Arcana's Dark Magician has a little darker shade of green than the original Dark Magician by Yugimoto. I believe I actually only run 1 Mirror Force. I might still be running 2. I think I haven't finished testing. That's the only card I will tell you I don't remember if I took the second out or not yet. I run Magic Formula. It actually does come in handy lately, but I do plan to probably switch out with a card from my side deck. And here's the third, Dark Magician. Probably my favorite artwork of Yugi's, honestly, besides the alternate artwork, which is sick because it has the soul patch, which technically I'd say the alternate artwork is Arcana secretly. But I also run Magicians Unite. I only use 1 though, but it has come in some pretty decent hands with 2 duels of mine. Because if it wasn't for Magicians Unite, I probably would have almost lost a duel against my cousin. I guess I do run all three right now. I guess I did re-add him. Okay, I guess I'm no longer citing a third skilled. I guess I did re-add him. But I do plan to remove him probably if he is not needed. I love this card for the Dark Magician, 1,000 Knives. Honestly, that's like the coolest Dark Magician card ever. Any card that supports him. Of course, you gotta have Dark Magician Girl if you have at least 2 or 3 Dark Magicians. And honestly, this is not my favorite artwork, but I wanted to add the hollow one from the Legendary Dex Yugi to the deck to make the deck feel special and loved because it's staying together. One of the monsters that really helps me in this deck is Magical Exemplar. Honestly, I abuse her and Defender the most. And yes, Defender is in here. I only need one though. Milla, the Temporal Magician, I actually eventually will be removing. I'm debating between, I'd say, 10 different cards, and I'm still playing Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo. I think I've narrowed it down that 2 are not going in the deck. One of my favorite cards that came out, Dark Renewal. And I've been hearing a lot of people bitching and moaning about it. But honestly, there has been more times that my Dark Renewal has been stopped, and I've only used this deck 5 times, so I've only got to successfully use it in a duel 3 times, and I've brought this card back from my hand. Well, I didn't. The one duel, my cousin actually helped me get a card back, and I chose that. Or he chose that. I forget how the duel went, but pretty much I did end up pretty much losing this card in the duel. Period. He just stopped it from activating. Honestly, certain cards should not be banned or anything. I say if you don't like a card, limit it on a ban list, not freaking ban it. Because there is Dark Bribe, 7 Tools of the Band, and everything. This is the only monster you're about to see that is not a spellcaster in the deck. And that's because I chose him over Chaos Sorcerer for a couple reasons. 1, he's been a trump card. And 2, Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning is pretty sick. Plus, right now he's in here until I can decide if I do want to add someone in particular. If I do, he's getting removed, and I'm taking a 1 light and a 1 dark out of the deck to add 2 other spellcasters I was going to add. This, my fiance, Goth Girl, actually loves this card. And she's not much for duel monsters, but she actually thinks this card's pretty cool. So I attributed her as my Magician of Faith. Funny thing is, I attributed myself as Arcana's Dark Magician. And technically, although Yugi does eventually get it, but it's like Taya and Yugi don't technically, I don't think, ever get together, but it's like a fantasy thing. But he gets there, Arcana's Dark Magician, and it's still like Dark Magician and Magician of Faith, because Taya became Magician of Faith and Yugi became Dark Magician in the season 1 kind of thing. And they just, that's like their favorite card, so I thought it was kind of cute. There's my second magical dimension. I actually do run Magic Cylinder. Not a lot of my decks actually run this anymore, because a lot of cards actually can turn effect damage against you lately, I've noticed. So I do be careful on that now with Magic Cylinder only. One of my cards that everybody hates when I use is Defender. I actually got the idea of adding only 1 Defender from a past duel I had years ago when a duelist that I know and learned a little bit from, Phil, he uses spellcasters. I don't know if he still does today, but I'm pretty sure he does. But he had a duel. He dueled me. And the first time he dueled me, he only had 1 Defender. He's like, I think it was the first time. It might have been a few other times before. It's been so long since I dueled him, but he only used 1 Defender on me, and he used 2 other cards, and I kind of just felt he was my defender, so I made him my defender because this card, I abuse its effects so bad that I help all my spellcasters the best I can, though he has been stopped pretty quick too, I guess I do run a second Mirror Force. I didn't remove it yet, so it's probably getting one more chance. This is another card that, excuse me, but this is a good card to abuse in any deck involving spell counters. Maiden of Macabre. She's actually a pretty sick twisted card. I'm sorry, any spellcaster with a scythe is awesome. Copycat. This card I wasn't originally gonna add. I was actually debating on him or on the Apprentice, Dark Magician Apprentice, something like that. I have it in my side deck. Oh, here it is. Apprentice Magician. And honestly, because of the 2 duels I did duel, because I was looking for my Apprentice Magician, I ended up siding her after my second duel, because I technically just put Copycat till I could find my Apprentice. He ended up saving my pretty much my ass more times than I could think, because after that second duel, I just kept him in and was like, look. And then I found my Apprentice Magician after my 3rd duel, and that 3rd duel and the second duel, I won with him and Arcana's Dark Magician, and the second one, I had Envoy of the Beginning to help me out as well. If it wasn't for Envoy, I probably would have lost that duel, though, because the dude had a stronger attacking monster and a second one, and I needed to do a suicide with Copycat in that. Envoy killed the other one, and then Dark Magician took the direct attack for him. I have only one Miracle Restoring for reasons. I feel if you're going to use it, only use one, because honestly, it's not always necessary. In most Spellcaster decks, you can pretty much bring a Dark Magician out any other way, but it's for both Dark Magician and Buster Blader. The only reason why it's in is because I have 3, and I have a higher chance of being able to use that, I feel. Because when I did side my 3rd one, I could not use it for the life of me, so this will end up being removed when I don't want to use it no more, which will be when I have 2 Dark Magicians instead of 3, and that's only if T-Muck gets unbanned, which I have a strong feel he will. I only need 1 of these. Honestly, Secret of the Village of the Spellcasters, I've noticed for a lot of duels, people usually run 2. And honestly, I feel if you have a double of a field spell for the Spellcasters, it's just a waste. You should only need 1, because Spellcasters rely a lot on their spells and traps. Usually, I believe, I'd say their spells. Unless you're Dark Magician, then you rely on both. And fuck shit up bad for your opponent. But I've learned from so many Spellcaster duels, which people don't realize, I observe your deck and gain knowledge from that. And I observe every duel, and I pick up the info that my brain knows I should keep, since the rest I already know. And I eventually use that to my advantage. This, of all cards, is, of course, another of my favorites. It's my top favorite spellcaster besides Arcana's Dark Magician. So, level 8 of Silent Magician, level 8, and Arcana's Dark Magician are my top 2 favorites. And this, of course, is tribute to my daughter Hazel as well. This, Challenge the Prophet, I added because its effect is kind of brutal if you're correct, and because of the fact of Mila, the Temporal Magician, if I have them both on the field, it's a dick move then, because Mila just allows me to view what you have. If I use Challenge after that, I already know I can guess it right, and if you have a Mirror Force face down, I use his effect after a Mila, and it does piss people off, and I only needed 1. This is another card I love that they added. And I say, again, if you're going to bitch about a card, don't. Because there's so many cards that I could bitch about yours, and I don't even bitch about cards. It's a game. It's to have fun. Dueling isn't a competitive thing. It's not a competition. It's to have fun with the add-on that they do competitions. For fun and to make friends in the duel. Black Illusion. This is the only other card left. The rest are all there, so I do not use an extra deck. Some of my decks actually don't have extra decks. Some do. My top deck, my main one, does consist of an extra deck. I don't know if my side deck's done. It most likely is. I have the Apprentice Magician, Chaos Sorcerer, Dark Magic Curtain. I actually added it only because, as much as it pains me to say it, the original artwork says to pay 2,000, and I still have it somewhere, I think, in my 110, one that says pay 2,000 life points. Though in the manga and in the episode with Arcana, they only paid half their life points. Now, I would not use a Dark Magic Curtain unless I knew I was going to win a duel, so I would use that as a last resort. Like, if I'm down to like 400 life points, I'm going to Dark Magic Curtain then. Blast Magician, I always thought it looked kind of badass, and I always wished where the black was would be where the red is, and where the red is, it would be where the black is, because I think you'd look a lot more sick looking. Actually, I don't think that's black. My semi-color blindness might have defeated me again. I think that's a black shaded purple, like a dark purple. I also have Diffusion Wave Motion, and if you look really close, yes, it's from the legendary decks, but when I got it, a couple of my cards had a line going down, and I don't know if everyone else did, but I was told by a couple people they did have a couple cards with a random line going downward, and I think it was just from the factory, but not everybody has that. I added Disenchanter because I thought she would come in handy with the fact that it involves pretty much spell counters. Sorcerer of Dark Magic I only added in here so people would stop pesting me for mine. I was never trading them, but people like to ask for certain cards when I have it in a certain spot in my binder, which is an off-limits side. But it's all good. I did side a second one of the Magicians Unite, only in case, but I don't think I'll need it. Spell Recycler I added because, I'm sorry, he makes me think of a character I think is awesome in Digimon, actually. Just brought to Yu-Gi-Oh! And made pretty sweet looking, but less like him. It makes me think of Wizardmon without the staff and without the awesome goth creature look on his outfit. I also have a Call of the Haunted sided in case I were to remove because of DMOC coming out. I already told you which trap would be coming out, and that's Miracle Restoring. Call of the Haunted's for its place. Now, because of it being a Spellcaster deck, and I do have Envoy in the beginning in here, if I were to remove Envoy, I don't think I could actually fully remove it. That's why I decided for its place, if I were to side it, I would side it with Buster Blader. And I only have one, so here he is. It's my only one I have, and that's from the Yugi's legendary decks, and that's the Skilled White, who helps bring out Buster Blader instead of Dark Magician. So my third one would be sided for him. Thirdly, Polymerization, and you can side extra deck cards, but they count as your 15 limit. So I sided the Dark Paladin. Now, I'm gonna say this once and only once. If you're gonna copy my deck, I'm sorry, you just don't, in my opinion, you don't have true heart of your own cards. You just want to copy a deck that you think is gonna help people be beaten by you. That's not you actually dueling. You're pretty much, in my opinion, copying off of somebody. And I feel what someone should do, instead of copying off a deck, is try to be creative. Put your heart into your decks. Yes, it's fun to watch people's decks, how they are. It's good to study, actually, people's decks, so you know how to beat them and know how most people are going to be at tournaments and stuff, because people lately I see do too many copies of decks, and I don't think that's cool, nor is it right. I think it's kind of, in my opinion, it's kind of stupid, because you're technically not even dueling in ways. It's technically whoever created that deck is the one who's dueling. But in my opinion, I feel that you shouldn't copy a deck. You should be creative. Make your deck come from your heart. It's called the heart of the cards, dude. Not heart of whatever you see. And then you make it because you thought it was going to win. Honestly, it's not if you win or lose. Honestly, just soar the stars, dude. Don't steal that, by the way. Time to Soar the Stars is my catchphrase for my Destiny draw, my Heart of the Cards draw. So just giving you a heads up. If I find out anybody uses it, it's on and we're dueling to find out who can truly say it, because I came out with it first. So if you want to challenge me for that, you need to come to Pennsylvania and Northampton, and we will duel. And I will duel you with one of my many decks, and you're not going to know which deck I duel. You won't know what deck I duel you with. It will be a mystery to you. But I want to verse your top deck then. And it won't be just me dueling you. I want to duel you. Because of the fact that I had help with the catchphrase, you will be dueling me and somebody's Gravekeeper or Cyber Dragon or who knows which deck. But you'll be dueling Black Cat as well then. Because he's the one that helped me with that. And I love that catchphrase. So, just saying though, that's my Spellcaster deck. Do not copy it. Make it come from your heart. I'm not saying you can't. Honestly, I'm trying to say you shouldn't, because it's just, that's not cool. It's from my heart, not yours. So make it your own. Make your own is what I'm saying. Make your own deck. Be creative. Make it come from your actual heart. And I might make another video, one that doesn't have so much talking and more about the deck. So stay tuned.